Hey everyone, the one line Steve here again, with probably one of my most requested videos I've gotten in a long time, which is what do you do against Grizzled Company? So I've here slideshow, TTS examples, the video, the army itself of how to play against Grizzled Company little masterclass type of thing. Yeah, I don't really like that term, but I'm going to show you exactly what you should be doing and how to help this potential meta menace that we got going on here. First, I gotta say a couple things. These type of videos take actually a crap ton time to make because I don't play these armies. I gotta research my enemy army, know exactly what you're doing, so I'm not just talking out of my ass, find specific lists, set up everything on TTS, which takes so long, and do all that stuff. Obviously, I like doing that, and I'm happy to do it, but I just want to get that out there. This does take a lot of time out of me. So to say that, please like, comment, share, subscribe to this video, especially this one of all videos. This is definitely much more a more informative video than something like my little streamer videos, my what do you want to call them, my little battle reports. This is a lot harder to do, but this is a lot better for the community, so I like getting those out there, helping the people not struggle. So yeah, just if you could do those things, it would mean a lot. That's all, just a little simple thing, and we're gonna start with the video now. Start with the detachment itself. All right, Grizzled Company. Sorry, it's Recon Element. Let's switch over. All right, here we go. Grizzled Company. Very simple detachment, especially on the surface. It is you get +1 order for your officers, and if you are ordered, you get a reroll once to hit. And if you are hitting something on an objective, you also get reroll once to wound. The second part, I don't know if you have to be ordered or not to get that. I'm gonna say probably yes. So that part doesn't matter too much. It's kind of frivolous because getting orders is not hard in this detachment at all until it's late game. So on the surface, this is just a efficient type of damage increasing attachment. Things like Reaper's Wager or Subterranean Assault, stuff like that. The damage increase as a attachment is worse than those mostly because those ones have no restrictions at all. Reaper's Wager, you always get real ones to hit, and sometimes you get real ones to wound also. Subterranean Assault is real ones to hit always, and then you get a really good buff as in the 60 strike. This is you get real ones to hit if you do something, and if another thing happens, you get real ones to wound, which is good, but it's still slightly restricted. So it's good, but I think slightly overhyped. Really, one of the better parts about this is the +1 orders, because tank orders are actually kind of hard to get. The only things you can really order tanks with are Rogel Dorns, which sometimes you don't even play tank commander because they're quite expensive, and Leontis, who now has 4 orders in this attachment, but there's only so much orders he can do. So this is just a baseline damage increasing detachment. It's efficient. This compares pretty much directly to something like Combined Arms. Combined Arms gives you lethal hits on your whole army if you shoot equal targets. So if vehicles shoot things like vehicles of monsters and infantry shoot things like mounted infantry, they get lethal hits. So it's a different attachment. Side grady depending on the meta. If you're in a meta of a shit ton of vehicle spam, stuff like that, then the lethal hits will vastly do you better, and things like the lethal hits is mostly much better in Overwatch. So they are different. This one is just a lot more simple baseline. It's just reroll ones on either end. Nothing to really fuss about except for orders. All right, enhancements. You're really only gonna see one. Sometimes you'll see one of the other two, but there's really one big enhancement that is a big part of this detachment, which is the first one, Abhuman Detail. A Commissar model can now order the Ogren models, which is both Ogren and Bulgren, and he can attach them, which is kind of niche. You're only gonna do that in certain instances, but it really just lets an Ogren be ordered, which is a whole reason Bulgren were good before. So it helps them out again. They can't get all the orders. The only orders the Commissar can do is the +1 to hit in melee. And I'm pretty sure the second one is the let's just check. So yes, it's the +1 OC and leadership one, and the +1 to hit one, which are both quite good. You can't do move, which is very important. And I'm pretty sure Leontis still can't move them. I think he just got Titanic back. Sorry if I'm wrong on that one, but that's a little minor. So they're only ever just moving 6. Yeah, so Leontis can't order them either. So they're only ever gonna get the +1 to hit or the +1 OC in leadership. The +1 OC is quite good because that's always a weakness of elite infantry models, of being low OC. Getting to OC2 is nice, and obviously hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s to hit, and at the same time, most likely rerolling 1s to wound makes them quite efficient melee. Well, that is a unit we can use to our benefit. We'll get to that later. Aquila Eye, he gives an order, an officer a different order. This is kind of niche. It just gives them +1 AP when they're shooting something with a 12. It's kind of cute for something like you take a flamer tank and stuff. Other that's just it though. I think this works in Oracle Dorns. Does you can give an Oracle Dorn that. Issue is like, is that ever going to be better than +1 to hit? Most likely not. Because you can't have multiple orders unless your name is like Kazakhin, who can't have multiple orders. They just can like switch the orders around. Second one, 15 points. An infantry model can order to give something stealth. It's cute. Other things like, is this better than +1 save or a damaging order or +3 movement? Usually not. And it's only infantry officers who can only order, because the only one who can order everyone except maybe Ursula Creed, who's not a named character anyways, who can order tanks is the tank commanders or Leontis. So this can't even give stealth to things you care about. So it's just giving stealth to some T3 5 save guys, or maybe some 4 save guys. That part doesn't matter too much. Loud Halar lets an officer order within 12 instead of 6. This is nichely okay. It's best on something like a Rogel Dorn because they only get 6-inch orders. Scratch that. I forgot they had 6 and 12-inch orders baseline. This is kind of useless because the only commanders you're ever going to use this on is the like foot commanders who have almost the only time you're ever taking them really is when you're trying to do to hang out with a command squad who has 24-inch orders. So this doesn't really come up. It's like nichely okay for Scion command squads, but usually they're ordering the squad they're part of. It can come up now that squad can order twice efficiently, that they can order 2 Scions next to near each other within 12 inches. It's kind of cute. That's about it. This is very niche. That's why it's 10 points. It's hard to use. All right, we're going to talk about this in terms of Spectacle, Spite, and Drukhari in general. Obviously, a lot of these are good, but we want to keep it in our mindset. All right, 1 CP start of any phase, you give someone, someone can order again. This is very good. This lets you do stuff like move in the movement phase, and then in the start of the shooting phase, you can give yourself +1 BS again, or the start of your opponent's shooting phase, you give yourself +1 armor save, stuff like that. Very good order. It's the strat they're going to use the most, especially against us. No Retreat, 1 CP. It lets you sticky an objective if you also have the +1 leadership OC order. So it's very restrictive. Keep in mind is if your opponent goes first, they cannot use the strat on turn 1 because you do not own your own home field until the end of your command phase. So you won't be able to use the strat. It's also, this strat is also, 1, it's not as great because it requires you to order something specific, which isn't as hard because you have extra orders, but still. And 2, pretty much every single guard list is taking at least 1 Cadian command squad to give Leontis and other people 24-inch orders, and they have sticky baseline. So it's very niche there. It really only come up for like a mid-game sticky at midpoint. There you go. It's also preemptively known because you know your opponent has to already be on that objective and has to have had the ability to gain an order. This is very niche. It's one of the lower tier types of sticky strats, but it does exist and it's something you got to think about. Lucky Spectacle Spite, we also have very little shooting, even if you take Scourges, so the ability to shoot something and then like, oh no, they could have sticky doesn't really come up too often. Usually if you're taking objective, you have dudes on it. All right, 1 CP veteran sharpshooters. Any Astral Militarum, they get a Norse cover. This is completely useless SS because our whole army is made of T3 6-up saves, T4 4-up saves, T6 4-up saves. They don't need help killing us. This strat will never come up. 1 CP in the shooting phase. Pick a model that is being affected by an order, and if they shoot someone against an objective, it gets lethal. This strat is very restrictive. It's like 3 different categories. It's like fine, otherwise get rolled during a bunch of lethal hits with the rerolls, but once again, this will never come up because damaging strats are almost always completely useless against us. So a strat that won't be used. 1 CP, Mordian Minute. Take an infantry unit that has first strength fire, second for fire. They get +1 strength and just +1 strength. This strat also, since it's infantry only will come up essentially on Kazakhin, which is like fine. Like even their normal bolters will not struggle to kill witches. It's like nichely cute for their bolter guns, the hotshot las guns, to help kill the bikers. That's still whatever. It doesn't affect plasma or melta against us in any discernible way, so it's very nichely It's also very niche on that one. Another strat that will very, very rarely come up. Just keep in mind, Kaz or Renegade can be +1 strength at will if they order themselves for +1 shot. And then 1 CP, this is the strat people get wrong. This is when they're like, oh my god, Grizzled Company. 1 CP, you're shooting your opponent's shooting phase only after they pick a target. -1 AC, AP. This is AOC, shooting only. So it means in every way is completely useless against Spectre Spite. If you're bringing Darkland Scourges, it might be hard to kill Rogaldorn. That is it. Doesn't affect Haywire, doesn't affect a normal Spectre Spite list that has very little Scourges, or just brings Haywire. So overall, if you read the strat, as we talk about strats, almost none of these rules interact with us or matter. This strat doesn't matter, this strat doesn't matter, this strat doesn't matter, this strat doesn't matter. On a baseline, those 4 strats, 3 strats are functionally useless and 1 is incredibly niche. If you have Darkland Scourges, kind of annoying, I guess. But to be fair, smoke exists, makes them even more sad. No Retreat is very niche, but can come up on a midfield. Like, you know, if your Rogaldorn's still alive, if you have a tank commander, he can order out even himself or like one of the Vanquisher Leman Russes and make them sticky. That can come up. And the one strat that's actually good is this one. It's a just order at any time. That's just fine. You have to keep in mind it's in any phase, it'll happen all time. You know, it's really just going to come down to I give myself +3 movement, and then I switch later to +1 to hit or +1 armor save. That's really what's going to happen. So overall, this attachment doesn't have a lot that interacts with us. It really does not. It's really just you get reroll 1s to hit. We'll say for the most of the game, we'll just imply that it's reroll 1s to hit. I won't even like do it realistically. It's just the enemy has reroll 1s to hit, and your choice of reroll 1s to wound because you get a pick because it's if the enemy's on an objective. So there's that, and an order. So by and large, this detachment is substantially less threatening than something like Combined Arms. Let me pull up Combined Arms real quick, and the things that are annoying is attachment. Lethal hits is more annoying for us if they take things like mortar teams, because it's, you know, lethal hits against all our little squads. That's quite annoying. And then lethal hits against vehicles doesn't matter. None of the enhancements are that important, but then they have essentially a worse version of the order, the free order thing. I don't know where it is. Yeah, your opponent's command phase. They can still flip the orders around. It's more restrictive. It means you can't do +3 move and then +1 BS, but you can still do like the +3 move and +1 armor save. But the important parts they have is they can res a whole squad, which is really good. It's really good. You know, just 20 minutes at res, and you have to screen out, are really freaking annoying. And they have a thing where they can bounce in order, which is quite good. Because like I said, a lot of times this army can be weakened once you pinpoint and kill a couple of their order targets, especially the vehicle orders, because those are really hard to come by. It's just Rogaldorn commanders and sometimes Leontis. If you can kill enough of those, they can't order the tanks anymore. I've had many games where I killed pretty much all their tank orders and their tanks are flopping for the next 2 to 3 turns. This one lets you always order a tank, which is really quite annoying. So both of these attachments don't have a lot because a lot of the guard stuff is trying to buff up your damage, which doesn't matter to us. But I would much rather play against Grizzled Company with have its very low amount of rules, just the real ones to hit, versus things like resurrecting, lethal hits everywhere, stuff like that. But overall, those are the detachments. And let's get onto my little thing. All right, back to the thing. Grizzled Company 101. All right, this part's not too long because I have a lot of TTS thing to go with it. This is the hypothetical list. This is a list that won a tournament, so it's just me making up a list. Obviously, there can be some differences. This doesn't have a Rogaldorn commander, has a little bit of mortars, which is unironically uncommon. But it has more other things, like it has the Bulgar and such. So the list, you have a Gaunt's Ghost, they're the teleporting infantry guys, Lord Solar, Cadian command squad, a Commissar with Abhuman detail, 10 Cadians, 6 Bulgrin with the 4 pinball safes, 1 mortar Cadian team, 20 Khazarkins with Plasma Melta, 2 Chimeras, 20 Rough Riders with the Melta Hunting Lances, 3x1 Vanquish Leman Russes, one of which has triple Flamer, and the other 2 have like Melta Last Cannon, and a single Rogaldorn. Overall, this is a very normal list. Like I said, there's not too much differences you make to these lists. Either people run 30 Khazarkin, running mortars is very uncommon, so it's usually this is the only anti-LS you'll see. Usually a common thing is to run a second Leman Russ, Rogaldorn, I mean, and Khazarkin can switch between Chimeras and the other one. I don't know, the speedier transport that they come with the Scion transport. Overall, this is actually very close to what you'll see every list. What? Let me pull up the list right now. So here is what the list looks like. If you can see, so 3 of the units are actually 1, because you need the normal command squad, you need the command squad, you need the normal Cadians, you need the command squad to lead it to get the 24-inch orders, and you need the Ontis to lead it to have the 24-inch orders with more orders. So this is one big group, even though it looks like 3 units. So overall, this is a very low to the ground army. There's not a lot going on. Just one little team of dudes, one teleporting guard lone op. It doesn't do a lot to itself. It just stands outside, does objectives. 20 Khazarkins in transports. The transports themselves are kind of slow because they only move 10. Obviously, they can move 13. They can scout 6, so they can go up to 19 inches turn 1. The Dispark. This Bulgrin squad, which is actually a detriment against us. The Commissar, who will lead them or not. 3 Leman Russes, Rogel Dorn, and the 20 Rough Riders. And then we'll go into my list, and then I'll go over the next point. This is the same list I've been running. I didn't want to change or skew anything. It's my 50 witch list that I run into many videos you've seen many times, but it's 50 witches, no enhance, just the Morgana's Curse enhancement. My verse isn't actually there. We have a Raider and 4 Venoms, Lady Mouse, 40 witches, 25 aliens, Mr. Kronos, and 15 Reavers with cluster tile tops. That's the normal list. And let's go back to the thing. All right, these are what you should be thinking about. Step aside, you need to identify the important units. The important units in this, army, the hell, that's weird, are the Ontis, the Rogel Dorn, the Khazarkins. These are the most important units in the army versus us. Obviously, Rogel Dorn has 1,000,000 shots. He's hard to kill. He has decent OC. The Ontis is the linchpin of the whole army. He's the only way to order the tanks. Has 4 orders. He's a pretty big guy himself. Like decent melee. He's in mounted, but he's not in a squad, for instance. And he has a sticky and such. So he's quite important. And then the Khazarkin. The Khazarkin are the fastest unit in the army by far. They do a crap ton of shots at different profiles. They have an out-of-phase damage with the Melt in Mind. They are one of the few ways to get OK OC onto an objective because they can make themselves +1 OC, so get up to OC 20 overall. Units. So those are the important units. These are the linchpin units against us. These are what you need to focus on. And then in turn, identify your important units, the things that will lead to your success on you. So for us, that is, to no surprise, the 10-man Hellions, the 6-man Reavers, and the Lilith. These are our important units. Hellions, for the reason as they can easily kill the big tanks with a little bit of support or by themselves with drugs. The Reavers, very similar idea. With the Meltas that can randomly do damage. These are the best move blockers against this army because this army is a very clunky 10-inch move tank army. That is, these tanks are like almost 7 inches long. They're actually more than 7 inches long if you count the turret. They're not, like I said, they're not very fast. They have okay Overwatch, but not immense Overwatch, so you can expect to move block them easily. And then against the non-tank targets, they get to mortal wound with impunity. And then Lilith has insane OC of 21 OC. She moves up to 22 inches out of a transport, so she is perpetually threatening Leontis's life. So Leontis has to be omega careful with Lilith on the board because she can just go in and murder him. And then she is threatening, in turn, insanely good challenge mets. So these are our important units on both armies. These are the focal points that you need to understand and what you need to use for victory and what you need to capitalize on to win. Identified and capitalize on the weakness of their list. So the weakness of their list are things like the Bulgrin, things like having incredibly low OC, things like these Vanquisher tanks. Especially the non-flamer one. Let's say this one's the flamer one. So this one's slightly better versus us. Flamer. So these things are the weaknesses of the list. Orgrim, due to having incredibly low OC, are incredibly slow, and due to just being an infantry squad with an okay save that relies on -1 damage to be durable, we can stab them to death. And this type of design of the list says, I need Bulgren to be standing in the middle to hold my primary. Otherwise, I have no way of holding primary. And they have to be very scared of us just assassinating those Bulgren, which is random succubus and witches. Obviously, Lilith. Even Hellions punch up to them because they only have a 3-up save, even through -1 damage. And these Lemonor's Vanquishers, they are quite large, and their shooting consists of 2 multi-meltas, a las cannon, and a 1-shot battle cannon that hits on a 4 baseline. These are very do nothing to us. You know, they'll shoot the shit out of a venom, so try not to get a venom shot. But they have low OC. They will struggle to shoot themselves out of combat due to hitting on 5s or 4s at best, because they only get hit on 4s at best, even if they're ordered. Except the Vanquisher, which hit on 3s if it's ordered in combat. So these are a lot of, and like the issue though for them is they need these things to hold primary. These are their little shitty vehicles they throw out. These are their Bulgrens. These are the things they need to rely on to hold primary. And that's not great to us because you see a Lemonos OC3, which your 3-man Reaver beats with 2 Reavers. Hellions beat with 5 Hellions. Witches beat with 2 Witches, for instance. It's very easy to stop their OC. Other things they, you know, are hypothetically kind of scary on the surface are Rough Riders, but they're not. They are just 12. They're 12-inch moving mounted, so they're not slow, but in comparison to us, they're incredibly slow. They have terrible saves, low toughness, and a low amount of wounds. Sure, they're mounted, but that means they still die to witches very easily due to being up to strength 5 or strength 6 with Lilith. Hellions eat them for breakfast. Even Hellion shooting, though, wounds on 6s will kill a good amount of them with only a 4-up save, let alone like Venom shooting, because that's strength 3 at least at damage 2. They're going to be strat reserving these almost always. If they don't strat reserve them, they get Hellion to death with mortal wounds, because it's actually the only unit in the army that isn't like obviously Khazarkin out of a Chimera, but if Khazarkin are out of the Chimera, they're dead. That can be Reaver mortal wounds because everything else is super far away. So you can use that to your benefit. Their melee is not great. It's either a 1-shot, like if they're going against Hellions, they have to use the Hunting Lance Melta, which is 1-shot hitting on a 3 or a 2. That's not really going to do too much damage. So this unit is not too much of a factor here. Like I said, they're most likely going to be strat reserving them every game. But if they don't, you can capitalize on that very easily. Because the second they lose these type of units, 1, they have no way of screening to get your rapid ingress. And 2, they have no way of doing secondary. This is one of their better secondary doers. Kind of funny, even though they're big squads. Because as I see, the only unit they have to directly do secondaries is this Gaunt's Ghost Squad. Or maybe this random commissar if they don't lead him. And if they don't lead him, he's very easy to kill. Speaking of rapid ingress, this army has almost no way of screening it out. They have 1 giant squad, which is going to string all the way in the back. You'll see when I make a deployment. This is going to string all the way in the back. But that's about it. Otherwise, it's 4 tanks, 2 transports, a Bulgren squad, and Mr. Gaunt's Ghost Squad. This is all they have to try and screen out. But at the same time, also trying to do primary objectives in secondaries. So it's they're kind of in a weird little limbo state where they can do maybe one of them, but not all of them at the same time. Well, you can easily screen out these Rough Riders with very little issue. And then you get to efficiently rapid ingress your Hellions into very aggressive spots. All right, next. The army is slow. Everything moves 10. Or like 6 or 5 inches. These move 12, but they're mounted. So moves 10, moves 10, moves 10, moves 10, moves 6, moves 6, moves 6. Yes, they can move a decent amount of this army, which makes them a bit faster. Which is why this army is also slow. They don't have advance to shoot. They don't fall back and shoot. They just raw dog their stat lines. So you can bring out your ruler. Say you move 13 inches next turn. That means I can position myself in a spot where you physically can't shoot me. Because you can like position yourself. The only sight line is 16 inches away. If they can only move 13 through a straight line, which is also hard to do anyways, they can't shoot you. It's very good. It's not common for all armies. Most gunline armies can't be rulered due to them having assault or variable shooting ranges. Guard is not one of those. They are very honest, which is great. And an easy thing to capitalize. It's very nice. Unlike Monka Tau, where the whole army can advance to shoot, has long ranges and longer speed, they're a lot harder to pre-measure. Guard is not. Army is slow. Like I said, the list has little to no secondary interaction. I did say that already, but to reiterate, this army has very little ways to do secondaries. If they want to do secondaries on turn 1 or 2, they just have to leave these Rough Riders on the ground, which is also bad for them. That means they can't screen out rapid ingresses very well. They don't have their own rapid ingress to dig out of the backfield. And then their little counter melee threat is not really counter melee anymore because they're just hanging out in the back. It's units made of paper. It's T4 with a 4-up save. It's any real army that shoot them to death. Against Spectral Spite, they might underestimate your army due to having low amount of shooting and just deploy them on the ground, which would be great for you because you can capitalize on that and just murder them. It's really, really bad for them. This unit also is challenge met food because they just have to run at you. And if they have to run at you, that means you can challenge met them, which means in turn you also can't be shot at the same time. This is kind of like it turns into like a cascading effect on them if they let that happen. You have to expect to get overwatched or nichely anti-LS'd. That's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. That's what happens with this army. So if you are scared of Overwatch, you just need to stop being scared of Overwatch. You just need to deal with it. Like I said, nichely anti-LS'd. This is already uncommon. Most people do not bring any of these, but in one of these, like it, for maybe a layman or someone who hasn't played the army a lot, it is scary to play against mortar teams. But you just have to think about it realistically. This unit hits on a 5, which means if they shoot anti-LS, they hit on a 6. 1 second, they hit on 5, right? I'm not crazy. Yes, they hit on a 6. If you order them, they hit on a they go to BS4, so they go back to hitting on 5s. If they're heavy, they go back to hitting on 4s. So they might hit on 4s, but a lot of times they can hit on 6s. If you have something like stealth, like it's a venom, they'll just hit on the best they can hit on is 5s. Their gun is just D6 shot to strength 5, no AP. They don't have a day sheet ability. Day sheet ability just lets them overwatch better. That doesn't matter. So it's just going to sit in the back, kill between 2 and 4 witches a turn, which is fine, or kill like 1 Reaver because you get a 3-up save. You just eat it. Don't reserve a lot of your army. Don't say like, I'm scared of being anti-LS, so I'm going to reserve all my shitty witches. I'm going to reserve a big Reaver squad because I'm scared of letting my models die. Just let them get shot. In a random instance, I have a game versus Admech I'm going to be posting next, where his list was an anti-LS list. He directly designed the detachment to be anti-LS. He played one of the weird detachments, where he had essentially his little cars, his little anti-LS cars, reroll hits, reroll ones to wound. And I just ate it every turn. So do not be scared of the anti-LS. Just eat it. Just deal with it. Set up where your opponent has to kill things you want them to kill or you don't care about as much. Like, for instance, be happy you shoot at a couple Reavers because the only Reavers that matter in this matchup are the 2 with Heat Lances. Against Rogal Dorns, you guess you want 3 of them to be OC6, but everything else, 2 Reavers out OCs them. Except like 6 Ogre and 6 Ogre between 6 and 12, whatever. But about like these guys, like these Chimeras and stuff, like the things that have to do objectives early. So be happy shooting at a Reaver because 3 of these guys might kill 1 Reaver. You have a 3-up save. He only wins on 3s. Just don't be on objective. At that turn, don't be on an objective if you don't have to. Giving him reroll ones to wound for no reason, there's no reason to do that. Obviously, you have to be on objectives, but like your Kronos can stand on your backfield. Like a Venom can stand on your backfield. Those guys are essentially immune to the mortars. In a turn, like a Venom can hold the side objective. He's not going to kill a Venom with 3 mortars. So do not be afraid of the anti-LS. In turn, don't be afraid of the Overwatch. As we showed with the strats, this detachment doesn't have a lot of strats for us. He's just going to be using things like Overwatch, grenades if he has units with grenades, rapid ingress, the generic strats, and then the extra aura thing. Maybe sticky once in a while, but he's going to just be using those strats. So force him to do Overwatch on things you don't care about, or to protect things you do care about. Or force him to do weird overwatches that don't necessarily matter, like, say, a Lehman Russ Vanquisher, overwatching 10 aliens with the Flamer one. He might kill 2, might kill 1. It's not going to kill a lot. And that's mostly a waste of CP for him, but maybe he feels he has to. A Rogal Dorn might be scary with a lot of shots, but it's a lot of shots with maybe reroll ones, that's it, and just hitting on 6s with no lethal or sustained. The heavy bolters have sustained if they have them, but usually they don't have heavy bolters. They take the other gun multi-meltas. So just just let them overwatch. Just give them bad targets or targets you don't care about or targets they feel like they have to shoot. Like for instance, on turn 1, if a 5 witches is going to steal one of their objectives, they have to overwatch them. And you're like, okay. And then your real target you want not overwatch, like your Reavers or your Hellions, get to go out for free, which is great. These are all good outplay mechanics you can do. And the piece de resistance. Challenge met. This army hates challenge met. There's very little things this army can do when 10 Hellions are challenge metting. It's threatening to challenge met multiple units. Obviously, they can potentially have Bolgrins countercharge. I don't know if Bolgrins like countercharging into 10 Hellions. They might just die. Especially since the Hellions would get the charge bonus off. Not the charge bonus, but the lance bonus. And counting as doing a charge, they can use their pain token. Or, I mean, the lethal hits thing. But since the whole army is very slow, very fat vehicles, they just eat challenge mets for breakfast, or these fighters. These things hate challenge met, or most of all, Khazarkins. A lot of Khazarkin gameplay is I'm going to go 13 inches, or I'm going to scout and move 13 inches. I'm going to go 19 inches. I'm going to disembark 3 and table something behind a wall. If the something behind a wall is some Reavers, some Hellions, the Khazarkin are very sad. Because then they can't do their play, because then they just get challenge metted and get murdered for free. So challenge met screws up a lot of their play patterns that they rely on, like challenge metting something on the middle, like a Vanquisher we talked about. A Vanquisher can't shoot himself out of a challenge met. Obviously, he can kill 5 witches, but he's not going to kill 10 Hellions, 6 Reavers with most of the time, because he's hitting on 4s or 5s. And then finally, like I said, these guys hate being challenge metted by almost anything in your whole army. Even 5 witches with a succubus, the gladiator ones, will kill probably half the squad almost. Depends on what drugs you have up. If you feel like using lethal AP would murderize them. But stuff like that. These are the quick, easy tips of how to capitalize on this army and how to beat it into the dirt. So the biggest points of this army is don't be scared of it. Just don't be scared of it. Don't disrespect it, but don't be scared. Like I showed you, they don't have a lot of rules to interact with us. They're very slow. They have very low OC. They're very bad at doing secondaries. This army is about punching up and punching sideways. It's not great at punching down, ironically. And we're all about punching down here. All right, and off to some little gameplay. All right, we're off to the game. I just picked something simple. Just tipping point, take and hold. So guard. So what guard? Like I said, most likely will strat reserve all its horses and then put its Khazarkin in the transports. It will lead Leontis with the veteran guardsmen together. The only options they have is if they want to lead the commissar to the Bulgrim. The commissar doesn't actually like do anything when leading them. The only benefit of that is that his orders are only 6 inches, and I don't think he has any way to improve them. So a lot of times the Bulgrim can run out of range and then lose their orders. And here it's so easy to kill a random commissar with things like Reavers or just punching him with witches. I think he's more likely to lead so he doesn't just get murdered randomly. Though I can't tell you with certainty. This is very like whatever. So this is the units they'll deploy. And then us, I don't see much differences that I make anywhere else. You put your 20 Hellions to deep strike. You put your 4 witches on the ground. I forgot Lady Lilith or Malice, whatever. She'll be over here. Damn it. This is Malice. So I forgot to deploy her. You have your 10 witches. You have your four whatever these called, Venoms, Raider, 15 Reavers, and Kronos. And Lilith and the Raider, obviously, as per usual. All right, and then to deployment. All right, so I set up the deployment as to what I think would happen. Obviously, I'm not a guards player. I can't tell you for certain this is exactly what's going to happen. This is all, we're in hypothetical land. That's how little teaching moments go. So this is what I think a guard player would do in their deployment. So they would take their Leontis squad, which is like 17 models, and string it out quite far because this is the only big unit they have. It's the best way of stopping rapid ingresses efficiently. They have their scout units up on the big squad. Obviously, Chimera could go here so he can scout this way potentially, but I just had him here so he can still scout this way or backwards behind the wall. I guess he can't because Petlimeros there. It'll probably be closer like this so he can actually scout backward, not be shot, something like that. So he can efficiently go somewhere 19 inches, you know, if you want. Same thing over here. He's Borgren here. This is the safest spot for them because the best spot the Borgren want to be is in this little triangle. So he can run up here turn 1. This Rogaldorn Captain tank, this is the best spot for him. That means he can just go here and hang out here, you know, see a lot of the board, hold his OC there. It's a good spot. Same thing with here. And these are the little vanquishers. These are the units that you want to go forward first. This guy wants to go up here. This guy wants to hold this objective. This guy wants to hang out in the middle, potentially, stuff like that. And then the little infiltrating unit, they want to survive. So it's just this place they can do something, do a secondary turn 1, and be relatively safe. Obviously, they're kind of in Reaver range right now, but I don't think it would be worth it to sacrifice Reavers just to kill the stupid Gaunt's Ghosts you don't care about too much. Your Reavers, like I said, are more important in this matchup than his Gaunt's Ghosts. Well, his Gaunt's Ghosts are very important, but on your end. There's that, and then my deployment is very similar to a lot of my deployments. I put my 10 witches here just to ready to do things turn 1 or screen out. A 6-man Reaver here to do stuff here or to go in the little L pocket. Both Venoms to hang out in the L. The Raider in the Raider spot with the 6-man Reavers in the 6-man Reaver spot. The Hellions, and I call it the Hellion spot. I like to call things a spot, but this is usually where I deploy Hellions because, like I said, they can go on this objective turn 1. They can interact with things turn 1. The Venom here to go in the Venom spot if they need to. And the 3-man Reaver, which should be slightly closer because you want these Reavers to be able to get on the midfield with like a low movement. Stuff like that. So that's essentially what the deployment. And Kronos is back here just to be safe, ready to run on this home field turn 1 if he needs to, and having these things within 6. These guys are kind of far away from the mortar teams. Like you see, they can't really shoot them. I think one can. Yeah, one can shoot, but they're pretty far away. Screening out some little horsies for turn 2 and 3 and just trying not to die for free. So that's essentially what a normal deployment I think would look like. And we'll go into a hypothetical turn 1. All right, so this was a full battle round. So the guard player went first through assassinate sabotage. So he, he moved and advanced a lot of models. He put this vanquisher here to sabotage. He scouted out Chimera to go here just so the Khazar can come out and do stuff the next turn. Same thing with the Bulgrin. This vanquisher is the only thing in his army that can hold this midfield, kind of, except by Bulgrin, but they weren't fast enough. He put this Khazar here because turn 1 he went first. His Chimera, obviously he's not fast enough. 19 inches only gets you that far, plus a disembark. He had nothing to shoot turn 1. It'll be very suicidal ditch. So he's right here in a decent staging area where, yes, I could suicide charge him. Don't really want to, but it means he can come in and interact with me turn 2. And he just set up a lot of things. Like he screened out here. These guys ran backwards because they weren't doing anything, weren't doing any secondaries, and they want to use them for later. And then these are good here. So he shot his 3 mortars and killed 4 of the witches. And then I went to my turn 1. I picked +2 movement. Like I said, he tried to get on a lot of objectives. He's trying to sabotage. This lets me stop him with units that are meant to do that and are not imperative to my game design. So I have 30 Reavers that ran out here, stopped his OC. They also did 6 damage with a Melta, which is really cool. These Hellions, which are coming out here, they're just going to charge one of these. I never really decided, but I'm just probably going to charge this guy. Actually, realistically, it's probably better to charge one of these because he has the flamers. He had to. Oh, that's what it was. I was wondering where my 3rd witch squad was. Right, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I had a witch squad here, which did what I said. It ran out. It was going to, with +2 movement. It was going to steal the OC from him for free with no effort. So he had to overwatch it, which means in turn, I got to get my Hellions out there to go punch something turn 1. In reality, the best target is probably this tank. That means I can pile into this. They could still, with a charge. Let's see. If I just charge it, let's roll it. Let's do this live. Because I need to leave 3 Hellions on this objective. So I have to stay outside of range of these 2 guys, which makes it quite easy to still have primary. The only way to touch him is like that. Then I can still steal the objective from him. Let's see. Yes, this means I can still steal the objective from him. So this is the interesting play here. So either, no, it's better just to steal his objective from him. because they're set up for yeah, we'll just do live. We'll fight. No strats. I could have grenaded that guy, but whatever. I'm not trying to kill anything this turn. 5s. Okay. I do 2 damage. Cool. I wasn't trying to do damage. So this sets me up. This steals his primary. This Vanquisher is kind of stuck in combat because, like I said, the chance of him getting out of combat with these Hellions is quite low. He only has heavy on 1 gun, so he's hitting on at best 4s, maybe 5s. Because I can also smoke in combat, potentially. Give myself cover and stuff. So he's kind of stuck here. So he either probably has to fall back to deal with this, but then if he falls back, I have things like challenge met, a reactive move and stuff. So really the only best way to deal with them is sending these Bolgrins in, but then that means the Bolgrin are going to be out in the open, thus able to be. I did not move these Venoms because this Venom is not safe here because this Vanquisher can just move up and shoot him. Kill it. He has multiple targets, so he can double kill it. So I felt like just staying back here was fine. He has very little way of shooting if it's back here. Obviously, this guy can come up here. But if this Vanquisher is all the way in my DZ turn 1, I'm very happy about that. That means I can just capitalize and murder it with my Reavers, my random other crap, grenades, and he just dies for free. So I wouldn't believe he would do that. Like I said, the only thing shooting this Venom would just be this Vanquisher. So it wouldn't actually be doing anything. It would just, you know, like I say a lot of times, I don't want to kill Venoms for free, but if your opponent is only killing the Venom and not the witches inside, that's pretty great for you. So that's fine with that. That's the only way they could shoot me. He has to deal with these Hellions here. But in the end, as you can see, so also another good thing about here is obviously he has this kind of spooky Chimera. It comes out and it can come shoot all this stuff here. But the thing is, if he can only shoot things in here if he's getting challenge meted. He can't run this way because one, he has to run past the witch, which is kind of impossible, or he gets challenge meted by this witch. He can run onto this thing to shoot me. Gets challenge meted here. The only thing he can do with this unit is either like run this bay, which is kind of bad, or suicide to shoot this Venom, which also does nothing. One, I will just jump out 6 witches on the objective. That's bad for him. So it's completing, it's competing nothing. Like maybe like the Chimera also shoots it. But if I'm just losing the Venom and the Witch Squad side for the whole Khazagin and the Chimera, I'm quite happy with that because my witches aren't as important here because they're not doing too much except steal and primary. Whereas Khazagin are quite important because it's the only thing they could try and sneak priming from me, kill things behind walls. So if he has to do that, that's terrible for him. It means he has no defense here. And the most important thing he has going on for is he has Lilith ready to assassinate Leontis. So Leontis now has to reposition himself and run the fuck away from Lilith ready to molest him, which is really bad for him. In turn, if he does that, Lilith can reposition and go potentially this way to kill these Bolgrin. And if he kills the if I can kill the Bolgrin and 1 or 2 of the tanks, he has no way of holding primary. And killing these tanks when I have 12 Hellions ready to go with +2 BS will not be hard. I already did 6 damage to that guy randomly with 1 Hellion. It's not that hard, especially if you think maybe Lilith punching up with +1 AP or with succubuses. I have Hellions, since he went first, are going to be rapid ingressing, and Hellions with drugs kill any of these tanks quite easily with not a lot of effort. Especially leaving around 6 are only T11. You can wound them on 4s with Hellions. Dorns are a bit harder because you can only win them on 5s, but you still have things like lethal hits, maybe 50 attacks, lethal hits, a lot. It's like on average of almost 9 lethals and baseline. It's 9 or 8. 8 times 6. Yeah, it's 8. 8 automatic wounds, very good. You have things like grenades, blah, blah, blah. So he's in a very big predicament because, like I said, he has no way of really dealing with these vehicles. This guy can, like, this looks kind of bad. Maybe I'm on position, but you can make it where this thing is only shootable from like over here. Like it's kind of fast. And he has no way of getting there. Like I said, the only way he has to shoot anything over here is just this Khazagin squad who can really only, like, let's see how big of an aura he has to be outside. So there's a 9-inch challenge bet. So he has physically no way of interacting with this at all. This shit is completely impenetrable. That means these Reavers get to do a bunch of crap next turn. Just really, really bad for him. But there you go. Like I said, I can't just play a game with because I can make myself win with talking. But so I can't just play a game with me. I'll try and get a real Grizzled Company game. I did, you know, coach one with 2 of the gentlemen from the Discord, and it was a very handy Spectral Spite win. I was quite surprised going into it. but this is not a loss. This is not, I don't even think, a bad matchup for Spectral Spite. It is, you know, scary on the surface because on the surface, Spectral Spite potentially looks weak to tank spam. That is a pretty common misconception. I'm not calling anyone stupid here, but that is a misconception about the army, is that the army is weak to tank spam. You know, you're not going to table tank spam, but you can capitalize on tank spam very easily, which is really good for us. But there you go. That is the little how to play against, little 101 about Grizzled Company. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like I said, this video took me a while to set up, plan for, and make. I had do a lot of crap for it. So I'd appreciate if you could do any of that for me. It would mean a lot. Thank you to all people who signed up for the little membership program. I'm going to work on more perks. Like I said, I'm a new guy doing this all by myself, so it's a little hard, but I will try to do that for you. Please tune into the live stream on this Saturday. This video is going up, I think, Friday morning, so tomorrow for you guys. I will be going over team stuff, Spectacle, Spite stuff. In particular, me. I have a team event the next weekend, so I'm going to go probably going over my list because list locks are on Saturday. We can talk about the list and such and all that. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this and hope this was informative. Finally, if you have any questions about the video or anything specific about Grizzled Company or Spectacle Spying and all that crap, please put it in the comments. I respond to 99.9% of comments. I will respond to you as soon as possible. All right, that's it. I hope you all have a great day.